Hey YouTube, this is Southern Prepper 1. It's Saturday morning. It's actually in the afternoon. I just ate lunch, but I've been working all day on this project, and it's for the wife. She wanted something nicer. We had a fence all around the property, so I put all these in, I don't know, long 18, 20 years ago, something like that. Put them in by hand. These are all telephone poles, anywhere from 7.5 to 8 feet apart. It was a lot of work to go around almost 3.5 acres. And it served its purpose well, but we took some fencing down in the front because it looked like, I call this elephant fencing because it's actually pretty strong. This is what you call field fence. And as you go down to the bottom, they get smaller and smaller. And then as you come up, they get larger, larger, and then they're pretty large. We're replacing the stuff in the front, and I'll show you what we're doing. If you're going to fence some property in and you don't know what you're going to use it for, field fence works, but the problem with this is if you get goats and they got horns, they're always going to put their heads through the fence and get their horns stuck. It happens all the time. Or you say, well, let's put some chickens in here. Chickens will go right through this. They'll find one they can jump through and they will get through this stuff. So it's a pain. Then you got to put poultry fencing on it. So you might as well spend a little bit more money and get a little different fencing. Let me show you what we're doing here. Stumps. I've showed that stump bucket that we bought. I love that thing. Now these had been rotting for years, so it was no problem getting them out. But that little stump bucket for a small tractor works awesome. I did a video on it. Can't say enough about it. So this is what we're doing. My wife wanted something different. So we went with something smaller. So right now we can definitely keep chickens in here, which we're not. This is the front yard. Another nice thing about that, dogs cannot put their heads through. Field fence, we had a couple big dogs that could put their heads through it, and I didn't like that because people walking by, they were very protective of the property. If you invited the people in, the dogs were fine. But because this fence was up and people were on the other side, the dogs were very territorial. And they would put their heads through and bark at people. And it was definitely could be a problem if someone got bit. Now, if someone's got bit, the no trespassing sign should work. But it's not worth taking a chance. So if you have a dog that likes to snip and bite, don't put field fence up. Something like this, like a sheep fence, goat fence, or even chain link fence. My wife just did not want this up. So I compromised with her and got no telephone poles. They were all taken out, and we put 4x4s to make it look better. She still wasn't happy with it, so we're going to put some wood on it. Right now I'm going to cut all these off. As you can see, these will be cut off. And let me show you what I'm doing. And I do think this looks a ton better, I have to admit. So we're putting 2 decking boards, one on top and one on the side, as you can see, and it makes it definitely much nicer looking, a more finished look. One thing to do is you're going to have some screws in here. Get you some clear caulk and squirt it down here, and then take your finger and wipe it off. That way it will help protect it. If not, water's just going to be sitting in there. Let me show you what else I've done. Now, I tried to get away with this, but she didn't buy it. We did replace this. This was one single 16-footer, and we put 2 10s, 20 feet. So much better. I've had some elderly people try to back up with a 16-foot gate. They shouldn't be backing up, and a lot of times if those people come over, I will back their vehicle up. But we put it an extra 4 feet, so it's so much easier backing up if you're an elderly person and hard for you. Make sure these field fences, or these field gates, they come 2 varieties, 3 varieties of quality. This is the lightweight one. I didn't want the heavyweight one. It's a lot heavier. I didn't need it. Some of them come with this fencing already attached to it. So actually, I wish I would have found those, but I couldn't. I bought these during the COVID lockdown, and I could not find 10-footers with the nice screening material in here. This is to keep the dog from going through these bars, because they can do that. So it makes it a little bit more secure. Make sure you place it on the outside. This is still really not the best because you can still get your foot in there. Now a big boot is hard to put in there, but I wanted to use the same material as the fence just for looks. I threw these up temporary. The wife will not go for them, man. She wants a nice 4x4 with a little brass cap on it and a different type of lock. She's not being picky. My wife is so, what's the word? She is so easy to get along with, but on this stuff she won't compromise. She wants something good because she really doesn't want the fence. The fence is for my son's dog and for our 2 grandbabies. So we compromised. So I'm going to replace that. But if you have a gate and you're tired of putting a rock, I know people that keep pushing a rock on their gate so it won't swing shut. A lot of times when it's really windy, they'll move, act like a sail and move. And I know a couple people that have a rock there and they have to keep rolling the rock. If you got any old gates, just take the part of the gate off of it that closes the gate, and it works perfectly. And then you can secure it. But I'll be changing that out to something nicer looking. I tried. Also, let me show you. When you put this fence up, you see that play in it? If you want to do a quality job, I don't even know what these things are called, but I love them. I use them for a lot of things. I'll just put a link there for you, so if you want to see what they're called, you can. But what they do is they do that. I don't know if you can see that with the shadow. Now it's a lot more secure. You can't push in on the top at all. It makes the gate and the fence stronger. So those are a little bit extra. Normally you could use a small staple, fence staple. I don't like it because they do loosen up because they don't go in there that far on these decking boards. That's the ultimate if you want looks and more security. So I have to agree with her that this fence looks better than the old fence. So decide what type of fence you want. Field fence is cheaper. It's probably $200 for 330 feet, something in that realm. This stuff is like $300 for 200 feet. It's more expensive, and it should be more expensive because you got a lot more wire in it. A lot more. So if you're going to ever have animals, chickens, sheep, goats, forget field fence. Just do it right the first time and put the proper fencing up, and it will save you money and time and frustration, because you can cheap out, but then you might have to go back and put some poultry fencing on it. You might have to put something else on it so your animals or birds will stay in. So hopefully you learned something. This is my Saturday on a honey-do list and going good. Thanks for watching.